This question is directed towards Professor Finkelstein, and it's regarding the right of return. I was wondering, regarding the right of return, the 700,000 or approximately 750,000 refugees that had fled or been forced to leave in 1948, that number having now ballooned to over 4 million. The advocacy for the right of return, to me, seems to be as unfeasible and absurd as, for example, demanding that Germany allow all survivors of the Holocaust and their descendants to return to Germany, Poland, etc., as well as demanding that all those who fled from Arab states in 1948, all Jews who were expelled from Arab states in 1948, and their descendants to return back to those countries. That seems to me to be an unfeasible thing to require of a country, and I was wondering what your comment on that is, speaking as someone who was influenced to use the Holocaust in the context of the refugee problem in Israel.
Well, I guess as a preliminary point, for obvious reasons, the analogy is weak because there wouldn't be many German Jews to return. That's just an obviously weak analogy, but the point still stands. My own view on the topic, and I guess what we have to do is first of all separate my own view from what was the topic of this evening, namely what's the opinion of the legal community on these subjects. I don't command, I don't pretend to command any kind of moral stature that my opinion should count for anything in this evening's discussion. If you were talking to a Nelson Mandela or a Gandhi, or as Professor Dugard mentioned, Bishop Tutu, yes, they command moral authority, rightfully so, and therefore you look to them for their opinion. But there's no reason why, and frankly I would urge you not to look to me for my moral opinion on these topics. I was giving you the rendering what the record shows. And the record is clear that the entire international community and the main human rights organizations state that under international law, the Palestinians have that right. The Palestinians and their descendants will maintain genuine links with the land. They have the right to return. Now that's the right. But then we have the question of its implementation. And you say that you consider it to be, I'll use the checklist term you use. You say it's not feasible, or infeasible, or unfeasible. It's not feasible. I'm not going to enter into that discussion because I have to be sensitive to other people when it comes to their rights. Nobody has the right to tell other people what to do with their rights. Our obligation as human beings is to support people's right to see their rights realized. At worst, you can, I suppose, to use a crude way of saying it, you can shut up. You can choose not to say anything. But I don't think anyone has the moral authority to tell other people that they should renounce their rights. Those are their rights. Our responsibility as moral actors, at minimum, is to uphold their right to their rights. Well, having said that, it still doesn't answer the question of whether I consider it feasible. And my answer to you would be simply this. If you think it's not feasible, and you're a moral individual and you recognize that you have no moral authority to tell other people how to exercise their rights, then your only choice, it seems to me, is to put forth an alternative such that they choose on their own not to exercise that particular right. You have to present the other side with an offer. And they, on their own, decide, hey, between exercising my right and the offer you're making, you know what? I'll take the offer.